Stoicism holds that the wise man, the good man, the philosopher, is one who lives in harmony with nature. His only fear is the failure to uphold his moral obligations. He does not fear pain, death, poverty, or any other challenges of life. His sole concern is that he might fail himself, that he might not live up to being a fully realized human being. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's pivotal figures and famed for his book, Meditations, embodies this philosophy. While the concept of greatness may seem vague, it is hard to find anyone in history more deserving of this accolade than he. This isn't just another self-help video, I assure you. Instead, it's a deep dive into the philosophy Marcus developed and recorded, which offers solutions to many issues we face in contemporary life. Here's why. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled as Roman emperor from 161 to 180 AD, was the last of the so-called five good emperors, and his reign coincided with the end of the Pax Romana, or the Roman peace. When Marcus Aurelius passed away, that period of peace concluded. As emperor, he was the most powerful man on earth. The Romans had no concept of the world beyond their empire, so Marcus effectively saw himself as the ruler of the entire world. In this position, he could have indulged in anything. The lifestyle of a Roman emperor was essentially synonymous with hedonism. They indulged in wealth, sexual exploits, wine, and any other pleasure imaginable. Anything conceivable was within Marcus Aurelius's grasp, completely unbounded by money, law, custom, or even ethics. Nothing could prevent him from achieving his deepest desires. Yet, in these boundless circumstances, Marcus Aurelius chose a life of virtue. He opted to be a good man consistently, not just occasionally or in passing moments, but every single day during his 19-year reign. Being virtuous does not automatically make one great, but consider the immense restraint and moral fortitude required to choose virtue over vice continuously, especially when faced with unlimited power and no repercussions. This exceptional choice is well documented in Meditations, which, although not intended as a book for publication, was Marcus Aurelius' personal journal. This journal, roughly divided into 12 parts and extending only about 150 pages, was never meant to be seen by others. It was a personal record of his deepest thoughts and convictions. Hence, Meditations provides a remarkable window into the character of its author. Written for no one's eyes but his own, despite its informal nature, Meditations ranks among the most profound and touching literary works ever created. To truly understand Marcus's thoughts, one should read Meditations, available in nearly every library and bookstore around the globe. Marcus Aurelius believed in living in accordance with the natural order of the universe, not just the flora and fauna, but also the cosmic order itself. Trees, for example, grow because that is their purpose. They maximize their potential, not for accolades or external validation, but because it is their nature to do so. This is the natural order. A caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. A fragile chick grows into an eagle, not out of desire, but because it is their destiny to do so. Similarly, Marcus believed that humans are meant to fulfill their potential. He did not advocate for the accumulation of wealth or seeking recognition. Nature has made you a human, and thus, your duty on this earth is to be the kindest, most virtuous human possible. For Marcus, this commitment to fulfilling one's potential represents the pinnacle of human achievement. Failing to realize one's potential, then, is the great tragedy of our face. You cannot control the world or the events that befall you, but you can govern how you respond. A truly great person endures life's storms and strives to reach their fullest potential, which is the duty of every human according to Marcus. Although he was an emperor, Marcus Aurelius was not preoccupied with writing or leisure. He had to manage an empire and deal with countless issues and people. He recognized that malevolence and ignorance were simply parts of our existence. To wish for a world without such challenges would be as unrealistic as wishing for a thornless rose. Marcus understood that people often do wrong out of ignorance rather than malice. While it might be possible to educate them, it is not always feasible. Thus, when confronted with immorality or indolence, Marcus looked inward, reminding himself of his imperfections and urging himself not to judge too harshly. After all, in different circumstances, he too could be the ignorant or misguided one. Marcus Aurelius consistently reminded himself that we are all born to aid each other, in accordance with nature's laws. Just as trees bear fruit for animals to eat and animals nourish the soil, humans are meant to support one another. The only true failure in life, he believed, would be to neglect this duty. We all face adversity, and Marcus was no exception. However, he recognized that adversity is simply part of the human condition. It is not something to dread or lament. Rather, it should be seen as an opportunity to demonstrate strength and perseverance. Marcus told himself not to pray for adversity to avoid it, as that is a fool's errand. Instead, prepare to face it head-on, and when it comes, use it as a chance to grow and advance. Marcus Aurelius believed that even the worst events could serve as opportunities to persist, to rise above, and to continue moving forward.
He urged himself to act,
endure, and prevail over any adversity, reminding himself that ultimately, every man must face death, but not every man needs to face it with complaint. In reflecting on his life and philosophy, Marcus Aurelius did not see his wealth as a burden, but approached his possessions with caution. He could have pursued endless material pleasures but chose not to. Instead, he focused on what he had, appreciating it without allowing it to define him or his values. These material possessions, he reasoned, were transient and ultimately insignificant. They did not enhance his virtue or his humanity. His true potential was much greater than the sum of his possessions. Marcus spent considerable time contemplating death, recognizing it as an inevitable part of life. He urged himself not to fear death but to accept it as a duty, just as nature dictates our roles to live virtuously and aid one another. Marcus Aurelius, along with other Stoic philosophers, distinguished between fleeting pleasures and genuine happiness. True happiness, they argued, is not derived from external achievements, but from a life lived virtuously and to the fullest. The only real failure, the only true sorrow, and the only fear worth having is not living up to your potential. For Marcus, and for all of us, being great is not just an aspiration, it is an obligation, inherent in our very nature.